Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Good. Are you excited to be here?
Yay!
All right. So I hope that everybody's here to learn something good about the real estate market in Ghana. Just to give you a little bit of an introduction to myself, my name is Alexander Boadi, but in Europe they call me Alexander Boadi. But today you can call me Alexander Boadi. I live in Accra, but I move between Accra, Lagos and Johannesburg. I'm involved in what's known as public-private partnerships. So I work with African governments, I work with the private sector, and we're involved in construction, infrastructure, bridges, roads, housing. But my speciality is real estate commentary, and I'm the resident commentator on TVC News Nigeria. So I just pretend like I know African real estate, so just bear with me. So once again, thank you for being here. The title of my presentation is Let's Make Ghana Great Again. Now, I'm not saying that Ghana's not great, but we have the potential to make it even greater. So if I start by showing you this picture, if we could please, I know we've just briefly touched on it, but I just want to state that what Anna and Victoria are doing in regards to Ghanaian real estate is very important, because as people from the diaspora, we tend to have some sort of conceptions and thoughts about Africa and real estate. So what they're doing in regards to promoting real estate in Africa is well, in particular with the focus on Ghana, is very important. And if you could just please give them one more round of applause, if that's... Thank you very much. I don't know if you can see the picture properly because of the lighting, but I look like the cat that caught the cream. And my dad said to me, he said to me once, there's only one thing that makes a Ghanaian man happier than being with a woman. I said, what's that? He said, it's being with two women. So I'm joking. Your husbands, don't worry, it's fine. So if we just get into the presentation, I think most of us are very much wondering what's Ghana like. What is the sector like? What types of properties do we have? So I'm just going to show you a collection of photos that I took in the last few weeks. I came back to London last week. So everybody probably knows, well, do you know what this is? Airport residential. So you've got two options when it comes to real estate in Ghana. You can either buy it or you can either rent. Somewhere like Airport Residential, you've got 3 to 2 bedroom properties. They're in the price range of probably starting about $300,000 to about $500,000, just dependent on who the landlord is. In these types of properties, they're easily letting for about $6,000 per month, maybe $5,000. Now I know people are thinking, $6,000 per month, who's going to afford that? It gets even worse, because it's $6,000 per month, but you have to pay for 1 year or 2 years flat. You're wondering who's probably affording this. Properties like this are built for the expatriate community, people from Europe, people from Latin America, the Middle East, who are coming in. It's also built for the diplomatic community. So a government easily can afford to put someone in these types of properties. So that's an area such as Airport Residential. I don't know if anyone know this particular area, Jolu? Have I pronounced it correctly? Jolu. What is it? Yeah. So this area is next to the airport. Yet again, the prices are slightly more reduced in regards to the rental value. So yet again, an area like this will probably cost you about $5,000 to $4,000 per month. Yet again, you're probably wondering how you can afford things like this. Not to worry, God will bless you, and you'll have abundance of wealth to afford it. So this is what's happening in Ghana. You've got the developers here, they're developing, putting people into these wonderful properties. You also have the option to construct yourself. So there's always two options. I know the developers probably don't want to hear me say that, but I'm just giving a general scope of the market. Yet again, I'm pronouncing it as cantonments. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, cantonments. Cantonments is what's known as the luxury area in Accra. So that's the area where the high commissioners are based, the businessmen are based, the politicians are based, even some footballers are in cantonments. This is a particular property. I went inside. It's a 3-bedroom, 3 en-suites. That's going for $7,000 per month. Yet again, that is for the diplomatic community. Don't worry, I'm going to show you properties which are, different values. I'm just giving you a general overview. So that's cantonments. This particular area, this is where I live. It's an area called Taifa. Now, if we're going to talk on an economic scale, you have what's known as macro and micro. Macro is the bigger scale, micro is the smaller scale. But to put Ghana into context, you have Ghana, which everybody knows, I'm going to Ghana. Then you have what's known as I'm actually going to Ghana, meaning most people tend to think Ghana is Accra. However, you come outside Accra, you go to Takoradi, you go to Temale, you go to the eastern region, Volta region, and you get to actually see what Ghana is about. So on a macro level, we're taking Accra as which is the capital city, but within Accra, you have two levels as well. So I've showed you the diplomatic community. This is, as I said, my area, Taifa, and that's not my house, if you was wondering. But areas like this, it's much more affordable to buy or build your own land if you was interested in doing that. However, in terms of access directly into Accra, traffic issues. If I've got a meeting at 8 o'clock in airport residential or cantonments, I leave my house at 5:30 in the morning. It takes me 2.5 hours. At night time, it takes me 20 minutes, half an hour to get back home from central Accra. So these are things to also factor in when you're purchasing real estate or when you're building real estate. Make sure you know that the area that I'm buying in, is it actually worth me living there? There's no point in me purchasing in an area such as cantonments if I've got no activity there. Try to purchase in an area in which you know you've got activity. And that's just another view as well of that particular property. And I'm a surveyor by trade, and I'm looking at this property and I know it cost a ton of money. And I'm wondering who lives there, but I just can't seem to find the owner. Does anyone have experience of this area? Ada? Does anyone know it? Okay, so this is not an area which is in the capital city. It's if you're going towards the east of Ghana, as if you're going towards Togo. Now Ada is the Miami of Ghana. It's where you have the speedboats. It's where the politicians, the footballers, they have their luxury housing. I wanted to show you this just to let you know that look, Ghana's not just all about high-rise buildings. You do have sort of if you looked at this, and I never had a DA, you'd probably think it's Miami or even somewhere such as Totteridge or Mill Hill. So this is what's happening in Ghana. This is actually not someone's house, it's a lodge, but it's a conversion. So you do have the opportunity, or you can build developments like this as well. So just to let you know, this is what's going on in Ghana. It's a fantastic time for Ghana. We've got a new government. They're very pro-business. They're very active. So try to go back and suss out the scene as opposed to just hearing things from individuals. Go there, spend time on the ground. Yet again, this is my area. This is actually my roads, and that's not my house. This is Taifa again. So I wanted to show you how properties start. So in the property life cycle, well, it's you have the foundation and then you have different phases. This is, we call it in surveying the fourth stage, which is 2 stages to completion. So if you're getting involved in property development, your property will start out like this, will get to this particular stage. But I also want people to know one thing as well. People tend to not what tends to happen is people will send money to their friends, to their cousins, build my house. Things tend to go wrong. It's important to have an understanding of how the property cycle works, so you know when you'll have to plaster the exterior, when you'll have to put the windows on, who you need to contact for the ironworks, for your gates, who's going to do the electrics, the boreholes, who you're going to hire to do your roofing, who you're going to hire for your terrazzo, which is the tiling on the floor. There's so much complexities when you're building a property in Ghana. So as I said, you've got the option of building your own and having to kind of have an understanding of things I've just mentioned, or you can go for one of the developers who have taken out one of these, most of these stresses for you. So that's just giving you another view of the Ghanaian real estate market. This is yet again another conceptual stage, which has actually, this property has been at this stage for about 10 years. It's been exactly like that for 10 years. What happens is individuals, they tend to have grandiose plans. It's me, my wife and my son, and I'm going to build 10 bedrooms. and then you run out of money, and then your property's stuck like that for a number of years. So that's also another thing to factor in when you're purchasing real estate in Ghana. Have an understanding of the value, and bear in mind it's known as the property cycle. How much is it going to cost over what particular duration of the cycle? Also factor in land issues. People constantly and still want to purchase from a friend or a cousin or I know a chief or I know a minister. It doesn't work like that. Go down the correct procedures, meaning go to the land registry, have a solicitor. I tend to inform people to have two solicitors, a UK-based solicitor and a local-based solicitor. That way you get to spread your options. So that's my knowledge that I'm trying to impart to you as well. I'm gonna move on quickly to what's known as corporate social responsibility. I know that everybody here is interested in probably purchasing a home for various reasons in Africa, in Ghana. But it's also important to remember that people are living different types of lifestyles to what you may want to live in. So it's great that we're buying houses for $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, but yet this is the reality for most people on the ground. This is actually people's houses. I was walking past, took a couple of pictures. I don't know if you can see a goat. There's just a goat there. Yet again, this is some kids, and if there's anyone from social services, they'll have a heart attack because there's a train line. Imagine that in the UK, kids just playing next to a train line. So always also try to bear this in mind when you're doing big transactions in real estate, that there is another side of Ghana. So as I said, you've got Ghana. Hey, it's Christmas, I'm going to Ghana, I'm going to party, I'm going to Cantonments, I'm going East Legon. But yet again, there is Ghana. And this is what it is like for some people as well. So just bear that in mind. I just wanted to show you this as well. To the developers. I mentioned CSR. To the developers, when you're building your lovely apartments, yeah, it's fantastic. But also try to remember that there are other people. So if I show you, there's the guys playing football. These are women sitting down watching the guys play football. When I walked past earlier, the women were playing and the guys were watching them. And then you've got the kids playing here. So just bear in mind, try to add something for the community that you're building in. Yes, we all like profits. Yes, we all like high yields. But just factor in normal people as well. Look, I'm gonna wrap up just based on time, but look, I just thought I'll show you this picture. It's the 6th of the 3rd, 1957, Ghana's inception, our great leader, Kwame Nkrumah. Ghana has the potential to do great things. It's down to people like you from the diaspora that have the education to try and build upon what he initially incepted in his memory. So I just wanted to bring that up just so that you guys are aware. So yeah, thank you very much.